Hi freaking flower subscribers, I am Sarah LeBeau with Main Street Florist here in Carlinville, Illinois, and this month we are showing you some beautiful blooms that are going to be a perfect transition from this late summer into fall. I don't know about you guys, but I love fall colors. Here at the shop, we love when everything kind of transitions, but we're still not ready to give up those summer days. So we're sort of savoring summer days with this color scheme. And your colors may vary, but you definitely have these beautiful cherry brandy roses. So what we love about this is just that they're a bicolor rose, meaning they've got sort of that transition from that kind of peachy orange to yellow to red. The darker guard petals really make it stand out. You've also got alstroemeria, which you may have an assortment of colors. We love alstroemeria because it's a great value, a great kind of bang for your buck. It is long lasting, it's pretty inexpensive, and we just really enjoy it here at the shop. You are also getting Safari Sunset. This again is very long lasting. It's an interesting flower. It almost just looks like a burgundy foliage, but it is a flower. You can see the bloom right here. And it's one we use in fall arrangements all the time. We love it. And then this month, instead of greenery, we threw in some solidago. Again, it's gonna help us kind of lead from that late summer into fall, and solidago just fills in really nicely. If you are allergy prone, no worries. Solidago is different than goldenrod. They are related, but this is not going to cause any of the sneezing and allergy things that goldenrod that we see, especially here in Illinois, growing in fields wild. Similar but different, not gonna bother you. Okay, so let's get started by just cleaning our stems. That's the best way to kind of approach the arrangement, is it just makes it faster and easier. I just chose this fun container today. We're gonna make something low and lush. Often I'll choose just a plain cube, but this is just something different, just to show you different varieties of arrangements you can make. We do have these containers available here in the shop, but I thought it were really nice with that sort of summer into fall vibe. It is filled with fresh, clean water, and I added my flower food to the water already. So we're gonna start with our roses. We have already stripped off all the thorns and leaves for you guys. We did the hard part, but I do want to show you how we do it. So this is a rose stripper. It's filthy because it gets lots of use. But what we do here in the shop is we use this tool to strip off those thorns and the leaves. It's just a quick way for us to keep your hands off those thorns. Now, with roses, they typically have guard petals. Guard petals are the very first petals that flower, that bud makes, and it protects the inside of the bloom. So often they look a little beat up, they look a little sad, but sometimes they can have the most interesting color. So it is a preference, it is up to you whether you want to remove those guard petals or not. More often than not, when we arrange in the shop, we do, just because customers will think that it's bruised or it's wilting, and sometimes it can be a little bruised. So you can just gently remove any of the guard petals that you don't like the look of. Sometimes removing those guard petals can really change the color of the rose though. You really start to notice those other tones underneath. Oh, I need to strip the thorns off that one. Next up is alstroemeria. We love this here at the shop, but if you are someone who has sensitive hands, if weeding in the yard or things cause you to kind of rash or maybe make your hands burn a little bit, alstroemeria is one that you may want to handle with gloves. I've never had a problem with it personally, but sometimes employees here at the shop have when working with it a lot or in large quantities. You've just got a few stems today. I would certainly recommend when you're done with your flowers, give your hands a good wash, a good scrub, but if you are a little worried, maybe use gloves. So we are going to strip off all of the foliage, lower down on the stem, and then I even like to take these lower leaves off as well. The blooms on alstroemeria last forever. The foliage does not. So sometimes the foliage is the first to look a little sad. So by taking it off now, you're just saving yourself some trouble later. And it just makes the stem look a little cleaner, a little nicer. If there's any other leaves that look sad to you higher up, you're welcome to take those off too. It is not going to hurt the bloom at all. In some cases, we remove foliage off of flowers because it will make the bloom last longer. So hydrangea is one of those examples. Okay, then we have our Safari Sunset and our solidago. Our solidago, if I've got any sad foliage, I'm gonna take it off. Not quite sure at the length I'm gonna cut this yet. So I don't want to remove too much. And then with the Safari Sunset, we cheat. We use these a lot. You can strip that. We just want any of the foliage that's going to be below the water line removed so that it doesn't cause bacteria to grow in your water. I'm going to start with our filler flowers. So just how if you've watched our videos before, we often start with our greenery first to create a grid to keep our flowers in place. This time I'm starting with my solidago. I'm working with the 10 stem bouquet of our subscription. If you have a 15 or 20 stem, you obviously have more to work with, but I feel like it's easier to show you guys with sort of the 10 stem, and then you can build from there if need be. So I'm gonna start with my solidago. I've got 4 pieces here. I'm gonna give my flowers a nice clean cut. I'm using a Florist knife. You could also use sharp scissors, or if you have any pruners, that's a great thing to use too. So I'm gonna keep this kind of low and lush. I usually measure against my vase, give it a nice cut, and place it in. I'm placing it at an angle. I'm going to cross my stems, create a grid. That is going to help keep my stems in place. So with those 4 pieces, I'm able to sort of make 4 corners is how I'm looking at it. Next up, I'm going to go in with my Safari Sunset. I'm going to group these together just to kind of give them a more interesting look. And I want them to have a little bit of height. I realize it may not stay perfectly to start with, but we'll work with it. Cross those stems as you go. Next up, I'm going to go in with my alstroemeria. It's also going to work as a filler and help keep things in place. I've got 3 stems of alstro, so I envision kind of placing a triangle and putting them at the points of that triangle in my arrangement, almost fitting between where my solidago stems went. It's always important to give your flowers a nice clean cut, especially when you're working with them and they've been sitting on the table. Just like our skin, they start to heal over. You want them to have the best opportunity to drink water as well as they can and keep them hydrated. If your alstroemeria buds are a little bit tighter than these, don't worry, they will open in no time. And like I said, these are really long lasting flowers. They can last up to 2 weeks. So just be patient. All right, I'm gonna group my Safari a little closer. And then I'm gonna go in with my roses, and I'm really gonna group them sort of opposite here. I want them to be my showstoppers. Sometimes what's nice about creating a low, lush arrangement, your stems last longer, especially your roses. They don't have to work as hard to drink. So by creating those shorter stems, they're gonna live a little bit longer, stay beautiful longer for you. I'm always upfront and honest with you guys. This container that I chose here is probably a little too wide to do an arrangement like this without some sort of structure or armature inside the container. You could use floral foam and that'll help keep your stems in place. Or on previous tutorials, we've shown how you take chicken wire and make a little egg or a little ball to place into your container to help keep your stems in place. That would be helpful as well. If I had the 15 stem bouquet, I could certainly pack it a little more full and they would stay just perfectly. We hope you enjoy your flowers this month. As always, if you have any questions, you always know how to find us, and we look forward to seeing you next month.